many of the new MMO and many that exist right now. But I'm going to talk about my best picks for most likely to be pretty okay candidates for good Sandbox MMO for this year. All these games, you can have your hands on them probably like right now, or you can play them really soon. So these are 5 games that I don't know if they're going to release technically this year, but definitely much sooner than almost anything else on this list, you'll be able to play them. And I know Sandbox MMOs, pretty polarizing for a lot of people, but it's a new emergent trend. And most of these are crowdfunded or early access, and that's really exciting. You know, the community can get involved and play and keep the hype alive. So I want to talk about it. I want to try to come at this with a spin of positivity, but yeah, I'm gonna have to be just a little bit cynical because a lot of these games coming out and have released recently in this, new wave of Sandbox MMOs, it feels really trend chasing, it feels really light and money grabby, but we will see if these games can grab our attention for long enough to make it worth the while. So, will there be enough sand in the boxes for these MMOs? Let's find out. All right, let's wrestle those jimmies. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna talk about Atlas. So, I'm gonna have to give it to Atlas. As bad as it is, and it is an objectively bad game. It absolutely is. As bad as it is, I've already done multiple videos talking about how popular it is and some things that it actually does right. There's a reason why people actually love watching it. And as shady as the company is and how I don't want to support it, I feel like technically, with as much unbiased as I can, I gotta put it on the list because I think that with all this attention and with the core foundation, the concept of this game being a pirate, fantasy, is it really high fantasy? I don't know. It's fantasy-ish. It's got gorgons and stuff like that. Fantasy pirate MMO, I think that could do a lot of good. There's a lot of other games that have little pieces of that concept in them, but a full encompassing, compass adventure, running around the world, sailing and fighting hydras and giant tornadoes and big ship battles, that's pretty special, even if it's done horribly, which it is done horribly, but given enough time, with this momentum that it has, despite how bad it is, again, I cannot stress that, it's got potential. And it does say something that this is on the list, though. It does say something about the economy, maybe, and the general ecosystem of MMOs, for sure. But still, top 5 list, it makes the cut. So take whatever you want from that. All right, so next up, I'm gonna put down Hytale, and you know what? It's beating out Legends of Aria. In fact, I have Legends of Aria literally written down on my thing. Let's actually change that. Hytale is the one I'm gonna slap down here because I was actually mentioning how in Legends of Aria it's so cool, just like in Atlas that you can make your own servers and you can have your own little family-run thing. You can make your own rule sets and things. That's pretty neat. More MMOs need to do that, but Hytale is the game that is totally going to focus on that, which means even though Hytale as a whole probably doesn't qualify as an MMO because you can play it single player, you can just play it with soft online servers, but you can go full MMO. I'm pretty sure you can make your own server just like Atlas, just like many other games like Rust and Minecraft, and you can go full MMO with this aspect. And the way Hytale is built is so that you can even create almost like your entirely new games. You have entirely new creatures you can input, you can code, you can program into entirely like different ecosystems and plugins already kind of like built into the game. So you just make your own game. You can just make your own MMO. So I don't know if it deserves to be on this slot, if you would consider Minecraft or the ability like Roblox to have its own MMO servers as an MMO, but I'm gonna slap it down because it deserves that conversation to have. Now, will it be fully playable in an MMO state this year? Debatable. I think a lot of these games won't, but I think that from what we've seen so far, it looks freaking gorgeous. I really wish I'd put it higher, but the thing is like, again, I don't know how playable, to what an extent it will be massive this year. And that's kind of the point of a yearly list, isn't it? So for Sandbox games, oh my God, Hytale's gonna be amazing when we jump into these alphas and the betas. We're gonna have fun, but the MMO crowd, you might have to wait until next year to really be satiated with the actual Sandbox. And at that point, it's probably gonna be #1 then, and I'll probably shout out specific MMO servers. In fact, I might even just run my own. Actually, why not? Fuck it, let's do it. If you guys want to be a part of that, join the Discord. Let's make our own Hytale server. It's gonna be great. Okay, so halfway on the list, we have something that is a little bit more tangible in ways, but at the same time, I think it's actually going to probably take longer than anything else on this list. And that's going to be Ashes of Creation. Now, it's #3 despite such hype that it has, such momentum, because they're kind of fragmenting its development, seemingly, and there's some sketchy stuff going on with it. If you guys have been watching my channel or most people's channels, there's some weird vibes going on with this game. Basically, it's supposed to be like the Sandbox MMO. This is supposed to be the MMO that's made by, hardcore, dedicated MMO players. It's one of the most crowd-funded games to come out, and it is playable. In fact, you could probably jump on and play the free-to-play Battle Royale version of the game, but see, that's not the MMO. See, if the MMO was fully playable in some, shitty fashion like Atlas is, I'd probably put it higher because of the foundation, the concepts, the hype that this game has. But I'm kind of afraid that the MMO is being pushed to the sideline more and more for trend chasing. I mean, that's just me. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased because I did get to play the Battle Royale and it was kind of poopy. But I don't know. From what I've seen of the gameplay of the MMO portion, I'm not as ecstatic as I want to be. But anyways, so the ideas of Ashes of Creation, it's basically like every grand idea that you've ever seen on forums ever for a cool sandbox MMO, and they're going to throw it all in, and it's supposed to be awesome. So I think it will be playable in some aspects this year. I mean, it literally is with the Battle Royale, but the full-fledged MMO, the gold version, that ain't coming forever. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, so should it be on the list or not? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, so number 2, finally a game that is reignited my passion for MMOs, and that's going to be Crowfall. So I had such skepticism for specifically this game. I made videos specifically kind of tearing this game apart for how it was doing trailers and some of the mechanics they were changing, like most of these games on this list, but Crowfall is now kind of picking up the pace, and it's starting to repolish and re-shine through, and maybe seal over some cracks that it had, and it kind of become more of a cohesive product, and it's starting to put in core gameplay loops, and it's starting to look a lot more playable. And that's really the big thing, is Crowfall had some big ideas, right? With the voxel destruction, the kingdom creation, the ability to have multiple meat puppets of characters, like avatars that you kind of like vehicle around, that you actually craft the bodies, they become your class and race. It's so freaking weird. And then you go into campaigns. So the game it's kind of an instanced MMO, but it's still a sandbox open world MMO. They're just fragmented between these different campaigns, and they have different rule sets and mutators, and there's just like so many crazy colorful ideas. And just look at the gameplay. It is such a colorful game that has, I think, a lot of character in my opinion, and can always have more and more. And I think it's dripping potential, but a lot of that was being squandered for quite a while. A lot of money and a lot of time going somewhere. But I think now, with some trailers, some gameplay, more people getting into it, buying into it, playing in the betas, it seems like, that hype, that momentum is building once again. And so, once again, you're coming up to the tippity top of some lists that I got coming up. And this one especially is for Sandbox MMO. And finally, the most hyped sandbox MMO that I am excited for is going to be Amazon's New World. Now, I'm actually going to be covering this game January 24th. I'm flying out to Irvine, California to the studios. I'll be playing it. I'll be able to record, and I'll probably live stream my entire event there. So I've actually already played New World and NDA, so, I can't tell you much more about that. I do have access, is I guess all I can say. And this is a game that I will be making content for. So yeah, that, officially, I'm going to be a content creator. I think that's exciting. All in all, this whole prospect for me personally, but for you guys, for the general audience, I think it's going to be a very cool game to get into, to jump into, for a lot of little reasons. And I'm going to try to dance around things that, I can't talk about, but basically, Soulsian style combat. It's going to be very similar to a lot of survival games, but actually make it actually MMO. Now, there's some debate if you consider Atlas an MMO or not, but trust me, New World, you're going to feel it, you're going to reel in it, and it's probably going to be decent enough. Now, is it going to be as grand scoping as Life is Feudal or maybe Gloria Victis? It's going to be very similar, I think, to those titles, but we'll see where it picks and chooses to go with its directions. But for the most part, it's going to be a big world with lots of freaking players, with a focus on PvP and building up different, foundations for, I guess, empires in a way. It kind of starts at villages at the moment, from what I can tell, and that's probably like the aspect of the game is it's the New World, like as in like colonial period times. So I don't know how, like, if it's going to go full Ashes of Creation, giant empire kingdoms, or if it's going to still be villages. So there's a lot that's still up in the air. There's a lot that I don't know, even though I played it. And there's a lot I can't say because I did play it with NDA. But what I can tell you is that it's super exciting because it's just doing a lot of different things with small, very realistic expectations. A lot of what I said about a lot of these games on this list and many other lists, upcoming lists, is I'm always a little bit dubious over the scope, the projected epicosity of the game. We see with Atlas how that's going awry, Ashes of Creation, and how long it's taking Crowfall to really come out. But New World, I think, is done by developers and with a publisher that is just like, okay, we kind of know what we're doing, we know what we can expect, and we're gonna make a real, actual sandbox MMO that people can actually engage in, that's not lagging all over the place, that's not bogging down people's systems, that's actually playable, that's actually fun, and balanced around MMO gameplay. That's not just a bunch of colorful, cool mechanics thrown together that end up not actually meshing together, like a lot of games on this list. But New World just seems real to me. So, yeah, whatever that means. But yeah, guys, that's it. That's my top 5. I wish I could do a top 10, but I honestly don't think most of the games that are, announced will be playable in any way this year. And I think a lot of the games that even will be playable this year will take too long to really come out, and their hype will fade and die. I kind of actually at the same time wish maybe I could just do a top 2, because I think Crowfall and New World are the only games that are realistically going to be actually genuinely playable this year that actually follow through with their MMO components. And even then, that's up for debate. We'll see how that turns out. But yeah, I said some words and I said some things, and it might seem conflicting, it might sound nuanced, but imagine that. Somebody who's played so many games and seen games go up and down, fail and flounder, and some fantastically succeed, it just really seems like it's all rolling dice. And with an upcoming list, yeah, I'm gonna sound a little bit unprepared and maybe a little bit cynical, but it's still a top list. And I honestly do think that these are the 5 that will be genuinely enjoyed this year for people who are fans of sandbox games, especially in MMOs. And hopefully we can come together for some of these and have a good time. That's it. Keep it